Welcome to section 1.8. This is the 10th session of the CISSP exam prep series. In this session, we'll extend risk thinking out to everyone who builds your technology. We'll answer several questions. What is a supply chain? And what is supply chain risk management? How does the supply chain become a threat vector? What do supply chain attacks look like? How do you assess and monitor that risk? And what mechanisms help you secure it? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because your security is only as strong as the weakest hand your gear passed through. Picture a company that buys sleek network appliances from a trusted brand. Never realizing a subcontractor 3 tiers down slipped in an extra chip, the device works perfectly, yet quietly leaks data. Trace and vet the chain, and you catch that risk before it ships. On the job, this is how you defend against attacks that arrive pre-installed. What is a supply chain, and what is supply chain risk management? A supply chain is the long, layered history behind any finished product. Almost no computer or device is built by a single company. Final assembly sits on top of processors, memory, drives, and boards from separate vendors, who in turn depend on others for metals, plastics, and silicon. Supply chain risk management, or SCRM, is the practice of making sure every link is reliable, trustworthy, and open about its security. You should evaluate it for every product and service you acquire from outside suppliers. Think of tracing every ingredient in a packaged meal back to its farm. The final dish is only as safe as its sources. Why must each link be accountable to the next? Because trust has to be enforced at every handoff, not assumed. Each link should be responsible to the one after it, with handoffs organized, documented, managed, and audited. The goal is a finished product that meets quality and performance targets, carries its promised security, and was never tampered with or sabotaged anywhere along the way. Think of a signed chain of custody for evidence. Every person who touches it signs, so any break is visible. How does the supply chain become a threat vector? It becomes one when a supposedly trusted source is quietly compromised upstream. You obtain materials, software, hardware, or data believing they are clean, but the chain behind that source may have been poisoned or modified. This is also why you weigh external factors like a supplier's stability and resource availability. Ask hard questions about delivery models too. If you run just in time, with parts arriving exactly when needed, do you hold any buffer stock to keep producing if a shipment is delayed? Think of a river feeding a town. If someone contaminates it far upstream, every tap downstream is affected. What do supply chain attacks actually look like? They take a few recognizable forms. Attackers can tamper with a product, substitute counterfeits, or embed hidden implants that add remote access or listening capabilities to otherwise normal equipment. In the modern era, this reaches into the AI supply chain too, where third-party models, poison training data, and vulnerable plugins introduce fresh risks that deserve the same scrutiny as hardware and software. These attacks are genuinely hard to catch, because miniaturization can hide an extra chip, and the manipulation may live in firmware or software rather than the hardware you can see. Think of a counterfeit part slipped into a machine. It looks identical, but it betrays you from the inside. How do you assess and monitor supply chain risk? Through ongoing oversight and firm minimum requirements. Monitoring, management, and assessment may be demanded by best practice or regulation, performed by you or by external auditors. And here is a crucial test. Any partner who cannot run their own operations securely cannot be trusted to secure part of your chain. Wherever possible, set minimum security requirements for each entity, meeting or exceeding what the final product needs, and back them with detailed review of contracts and service level agreements. When a provider builds software or delivers a service, you may define a service level requirement upfront that the final agreement must honor. Think of vetting every subcontractor on a build to the same code the general contractor must meet. What mechanisms help you secure the supply chain? 3 technical building blocks come up often, and not all fit every organization. First is a silicon root of trust, a tamper-resistant hardware component that gives a system a secure starting point, verifying the boot process and providing built-in cryptographic operations and remote attestation. Second is a physically unclonable function, which generates a unique hardware fingerprint from a chip's inherent physical properties, useful for authentication and for exposing counterfeits or implants. Third is a software bill of materials, a full inventory of every software component and dependency, with versions and sources so teams can track origins and patch known vulnerabilities fast. Think of a sealed foundation stone, a unique fingerprint, and a complete parts list, together proving a product is genuine and traceable. So let's bring it together. A supply chain is the long history behind every product, and supply chain risk management keeps each link reliable and accountable to the next. That chain can become a threat vector when an upstream source is compromised, and attacks take the form of tampering, counterfeits, and hidden implants, now including the AI supply chain. You defend with ongoing monitoring, minimum security requirements, and service level requirements, plus 3 mechanisms: a silicon root of trust, physically unclonable functions, and a software bill of materials. Secure the whole chain, and you close a door most attackers count on you leaving open. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.